What's up, guys, and welcome back to the shop. Today we're going to be going over what the problem is with this Whirlpool Cabrio washing machine when the dial flashes all the way around and you're getting a F51 error code. So there's going to be a little bit of jumping around in this video because I got to move all the way around the machine in order to do certain things. But first thing we're going to want to do is try to find a tech sheet on this. So we're going to take these 3 screws out on the back of the machine. Actually, this one don't have a center one, but most of them do. So you're going to take that one out and this one out, and we're going to rock this control panel forward. So I'll be right back. Okay, so we got our 2 screws out on this one. So we're going to rock this control panel forward and just let it lay on the front, and that'll expose the control board and everything. And then we're going to try to find our tech sheet, which on this one somebody has moved and it's stuck in here, and I knew that. Originally the tech sheet was actually inside the machine right here. You stick your hand up in here and you'll be able to feel the little bag that the tech sheet's in. If you can't feel it like that, you'll have to take a putty knife and take this top loose. You'll feel little clips here, and that top will pop up, and you'll feel the same thing on this side. That top will pop up, and then if you look right there, you can see the little, it's kind of messy, but you see the little bag that the tech sheet came out of. Okay, so once we get our tech sheet, we're going to try to find out what the F51 means. You have to bear with me while I do this one-handed. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Here's our error codes. Display fault and error codes, and it's got all the different ones. So you just go down the list, and F51. So F51 means a motor RPS failure. So I can get that where you can read it a little better. Motor RPS failure. F then 51 flashes when when there is a motor rotor position sensor failure or lower harness problem. So what you're going to want to do is check that rotor position sensor and then check the harness going to it, make sure there's no loose connections or anything. If there's not, this thing is showing to change that sensor, and that should fix the problem. So I'm going to go ahead and get my other sensor, and I'm going to do that real quick, and we're going to see if that takes care of the problem. And I'll be right back. Okay, so now we're down underneath the machine. I'm going to show you how to get to that RPS switch. What we did was we just leaned that machine right on back to the wall and let it rest up against the wall. So what I got here is a Allen wrench. This is actually a key for garbage disposal, but you can get whatever, it don't say what size it is on it, but whatever size that is, you can get just regular Allen wrench at work, and you stick it up in there and turn it counterclockwise while you hold the rotor, and that thing will loosen up, and you can just, you can do it with your hand. You might have to use the wrench again. Now, sometimes these things are kind of hard to pull off, and there's certain ones you actually have to beat off with a hammer because you can't get them to come off. They're like seized up on there. But that's not the case this time. I've already had this one off, and I know it's not stuck. So we're just gonna go ahead and pull it off. Okay, we'll lay that down to the side, and immediately you can see some action going on from the bearing leak in here. But that's going to be a different story. We're going to fix that too, just not right now. So we got 4 screws on a little silver plate here. We're going to take those out. Let's say 3/8, and we're just going to take those out. Grab this ring when it comes off. Now this stator might fall off with it. Just be kind of careful with it. Don't let it fall off and hit the ground because it does have wires on it. Alright, so now we're going to grab that and we're just going to pull down on that real easy while we shake. This plastic protector ring may come off. Just lay that to the side for now. And right here is the rotor position sensor. And I'll give you a close-up of what that looks like. Here's my new one. Or used, slightly used. But anyway, so that's what it looks like. There's the part number. So we're just gonna flip this guy around, and you can take a little flat screwdriver or knife blade, and there'll be two little tabs that hold this thing on. One of them's right there, and the other one will be on this side, but this one's broken off. So you just take those little tabs and pop them up with your knife blade. I can't really get a good angle on it, but they're there, trust me. So just pop them up real carefully on both sides, and that thing will come right up and off. Alright, and then you want to take this wire harness off on this side. You can set that stator to the side. Okay, so we got our new switch here. We're just going to pop these wires out, pop that off. Little harness off there. Alright, now we got one of these little cable ties, so we're just going to take our needle nose pliers and we're going to mash that down and push it out. Okay, so that's as far as we need to go with that. So we're just going to grab our new one and we're going to put it back on. We'll stick the harness in first. Put the cable tie back in place. And then I'm going to grab our stator. And you can see where the rotor position sensor goes. All of these will be flat, and there'll be ones with notches right here, and you go around, there'll be another one, a notch right there, and that's where those little clips on that rotor position sensor go. So we're going to find where our wires connect. Our wire harness connects here, right there. So we're going to slip that on. So let's go that way. Get this guy out of the way, he's wanting to get him on. Alright, and then we're going to find those little notches that I was talking about here. That'll be where that rotor position sensor goes. Push these wires back down in the holder. Okay, so we'll slide that on. It kind of lines up here with these three legs and just pushes right on just like that, and you'll hear it pop in place. Okay. So now we're going to want to stick our guard back on. Make sure it's positioned right. And then we're going to turn our stator around. I'll hook that back on in just a second. Put that guy back up in there. Make sure it's turned the right way. It's kind of hard to do one-handed while you're filming. Okay. Okay, so now we got it seated where it needs to be. I'm just going to take the metal ring, put it back in place, and start one of these bolts down to hold it for me. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and put the other bolts in. Okay, now we can put our rotor back on. Just line it up with the threads. It should kind of slide itself back on because it's magnetic. Okay, then you take the Allen key, tighten it back up. Good and snug. You don't have to be real tight, just good and snug. Okay, I just had to stop and move some appliances there, but anyway, so I got this thing tight. Like I said, you don't have to get it real tight. So we're going to pull that out. We're going to lean this washer back down, and we're going to go ahead and try it again and see if that solved our F51 code. Okay, so we got our water hooked up, drain hooked up. Alright, let's see what we got here. Instantly I can tell there's more action at the tub than was before. It just was barely moving before, and it was kind of acting like it was trying to and couldn't. But anyway, we'll go ahead and let it get up into the spin. It wasn't doing that at all before it ever got to that point. It was shutting off and displaying F51. It wouldn't do any of this, no spinning at all. This one's got a bad bearing too. I'm gonna replace that later on today. But anyway, as far as the F51, the RPS sensor, that's got that repaired. Now what happened was that bearing had gone bad for long enough, and the people had let it go, and it started leaking water down through the center. And when we pulled that stator off, that RPS sensor sits right on top of that, and I can imagine it probably just threw water over on it and caused it to short out somehow. But anyway, as you can see now, the time it's already gone farther than it did a while ago. I think it went down to maybe 12 before it stopped a while ago, and we weren't getting any spin action at all. So that's got that fixed. I get these machines kind of often. If you think you might want to see me change the bearing in one, just leave a comment down below. And like I said, I go through these machines often, so if you want to see that video, let me know, and I can try to do a video on how to go through changing the bearing. I want to show you one more thing. I said earlier about the rotor, if it didn't come off, you would have to beat it off with a hammer. And I just didn't want you to think everything was as peaches and cream as this one was. I knew this one was going to be easy to get off because I've already taken it off. And most of them are easy to get off, but every now and again I'm going to show you what you run into. This is where I was pulling the parts from. But when I went to get that RPS sensor off of this one, this is kind of what I had to go through to get that. And anyway, so I wound up having to actually beat it off with my hammer, and you know, completely destroyed the rotor, so I can't use that again. I was kind of disappointed, but I managed to save the stator itself without damaging it. But I just wanted you to know sometimes this is what you run into, and there's no way around it. If you have to get in that far and you can't get that off any other way, you're just gonna have to beat it off with a hammer. That's the only way I know to do it. Quick disclaimer, anything in my videos was intended to help you, not hurt you. You need to know what you're doing before you work on these things. There's a lot of stuff going on that could possibly harm you. So you need to know what you're doing yourself, or either have a technician knows what he's doing. We don't need nobody getting electrocuted. We don't need nobody flooding their house out. So just take a minute. If you don't understand what you're doing, don't do it at all. I don't accept any responsibility for anything you take away from this video. Like I said, I'm just trying to help. One last thing before you go. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you didn't like it, hit the dislike button. It really helps me a lot, lets me know which videos to make and which videos not to make. If you like my channel and what I'm doing, hit the subscribe button. If you have any questions about what went on, leave a comment down below. Thanks.